Hey y'all, we got the wiring harness kind of draped in there. Charcoal just went and put the knock sensors in the block and siliconed them in so they're waterproof.
We got a playlist of all the events that we've been through, like Scraping the Coast 2024. We got some new events coming up, like Cruising the Coast 2024. Coming soon, check it out.
So if y'all new to the channel,
Like and subscribe.
and go to the channel homepage, check out the playlist and get caught up on everything we've been doing for the past couple of years.
Yep.
Today, we got the wiring harness kind of draped in. Charcoal, like I said, went and got the knock sensors waterproofed, and we're putting this intake on. This is the stock intake that came off of my 06 with the electric throttle body, 78 millimeter. And this is the intake we're going back with. It's a Dorman intake. He's got the manual throttle body, but if you notice, it's quite a bit larger. You can see this one's way wider, and you can see the high-riseness of it compared to the other one. It's just more robust. And I wish I could show you the inside. You can see all the way to the back.
It's different on camera than in real life, but you can definitely see a lot more.
The light in the back is where the pressure sensor goes. So instead of it being up here, manifold pressure sensor, it mounts in the backside. That's how much larger this one is. We're trying to get a little bit more low-end torque by going to a high-rise manifold style. And we'll see if it makes a difference on my stock 06 5.3 out of the pre-runner project. Have a crate motor coming for that. So the transmission's been rebuilt, modified. I love that, with the Sonax 6-pinion close ratio planetary gear. The 5.3 is not modified, and we're gonna put a modified intake on it.
It's been charcoaled.
It's been charcoaled. So he's got it all clean under the hood. The orange looks really good. And we're gonna go ahead and slap this intake on, pull the spark plugs off, fill it with fluids, and turn it over until I see oil pressure. And then I know we're good to go. All right, let's slide this intake in. We got all these wires out of the way. Got your coil packs mounted, knock sensors, oil pressure sensors plugged in, EGR returns plugged in, cam positions plugged in. All right, this plug here is the plug that goes in your manifold pressure sensor.
The very back piece over here.
It is quite larger than the factory one.
Yes.
It goes back farther than that.
We're gonna have to get in the truck for this.
Yep, in the truck. Blindly feel and clip it in, and then that polished throttle body looks good too, dude.
Yeah.
It goes with the block off plate we did for the EGR.
Yeah. It's charcoal. This one.
The purple one.
Purple.
Yes. So there's the tab.
Yeah, I have it on the tab on the outside.
Try to pick it up. If it won't come up, it's clicked in.
No.
Yeah, the whole thing moves. Cool. All right, now that you're in there, slide it all back. And that's where she's gonna live, right there. We need to slide your bolts in. We can put the fuel rail on. All right, so we come across a problem. We have the stock bolt that goes in the stock manifold, and I've tried to modify and cut the sleeve off to get this to go in. But the problem we're having is this aftermarket manifold came with bolts. I don't have them. So I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and get this off of here. And the problem that we're having is where the bolt goes to the head, even if I take that rubber washer off,
The washer is still too big.
this washer is too big to fit here. It hits the intake itself. It won't go all the way down. And then I can't get it to even get into starting to the threads of the head.
So it's too short for us to even thread anything right now.
All right. So without bolts, we're kind of dead in the water. We have to shut it down for the night, and I'll start this back up tomorrow morning.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
It's the second day in this video, and it rained. I mean, when I say it rained this morning. It's noon now. It's been raining since 7 o'clock, and everything is completely, everything. the awesomeness of having an open shop. That being said, I wanted to be out here super early to get this intake knocked out. I was rummaging through some stuff in my bathroom, believe it or not, in my bathroom where my intake was before I moved it to my kitchen. I'm remodeling this 100-year-old house in Abita. And since I really didn't have a shop when I bought this, all the stuff's kind of new. I found my bolts. Had a bag of bolts with all the intake bolts and block off tabs and everything else that goes with the intake for the RCSB. I acquired it about 3 years ago from my buddy Charlie. I forgot what I traded for it or what we did or some speakers or something like that. Nevertheless, I have it, and I didn't have to go to the hardware store this morning to buy new bolts for it. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and torque this thing down and try to get a little head start before Charcoal gets out of school, and we can finally get the fluids put in this truck, primed and cranked up, and see if everything and all our hard work has paid off. Back to work. All right, excuse the fan. I'm trying to dry everything out for the moment. But this was my factory bolt, and it has the shoulder on it. This collar kind of keeps the bolt in, and this rubber washer to press it off. This manifold, however, does not, and the bolts needed to be much longer. So this is kind of why we had an impasse yesterday. The overall length, you're looking at about 1/4, 3/8 of an inch, but it doesn't have this sleeve. And this is what it takes to drop all the way down and torque. Torque specs in this manifold are 8 foot-pounds because it's the same gaskets. So let's go ahead and zip these in and try to get a head start on before Cole gets out of school. Then run them all down to 8 foot-pounds. Start in the center to the outward and crisscross. I'm gonna torque them all to 6. And then one more time at 8. That's 6 right there. So I'm gonna do the crisscross, center, outward, all the way until I get to the end. 10 times, and we'll get back to something else. So is that one. The fun one. This is my third go around on these gaskets just to make sure that they're even. I'll take the time in torquing just to make sure I don't have a problem later. Looking for that consistent beat when I stop for it not to lose any torque spec. All right. Good. Time for fuel injectors. All right, so this is the fuel rail that goes on Charcoal's 99 to 02, I believe. And this is the fuel rail that goes on my 03 to 06. And you can see there's a return on this one, and there's not on this one. However, these are the fuel injectors. They go with my motor. They would take both the same injector, but I know all of these work, so we're going to clean them and swap them over to this rail and clean the rail out, because in the truck, the engine naturally leans to the back a little bit, and sometimes some fine sediment fills up in the back of these fuel logs, causing premature injector failure. We chased a miss on Master P's truck and figured that was the fix. So we would put a new fuel injector in either 8 or 7, and the new injector would clog up. And we're like, what is going on? Well, there's fine sediment that that was allowed to pass through the filter. So we're gonna go ahead and clean these rails out and swap over the injectors. I have this little fuel injector tester. It's pretty simple. Hook up some leads to a battery and hook up the injector. You can set it to pulse, and you use these adapters to stick it on some carb cleaner. So that would go in there, and the injector goes in here, and hold on to it because it will shoot you in the face. So let's go ahead and start disabling these fuel injectors, and we'll keep the ones that came on your truck separate from the ones that came on my truck.
All right.
So I believe yours, all the clips are missing already. You can just pull them straight out. And on mine, I'm gonna go and pull these little clips off. Oh, I see what you mean.
Got it?
Yep.
Nice.
So I get my little tester, and I'll put it on the positive side, the negative side, and there is no on switch. That's it. And so these, I just kind of had an extra plug sitting around. Works just fine. I just stick it inside the terminal. It's rigged, but it works. So then you get your cleaner, and then you can plug this in, and it goes on the one way. You can actually set this to pulse. Short, long, or medium. And if you sit this on here and you don't hold it all together very, very tightly, it will shoot it off. So that's plugged in. Just like that. It is serious. I don't hear it at all. To reset, you got to unplug it and plug it in. I'll put it on long. And you can see the green light pulsing the signal. Apparently this injector's dead. Y'all would have heard it just like I would have heard it. I was having intermittent problems with one fuel injector before I set the truck up. So I suggest holding it very, very tightly and slowly pushing it down on the carb cleaner. And when you pulse it, you can hear it, and then you can see if it's pulsing it or not. This one was excellent. So you press pulse, which is the yellow one right there, and I'll push down.
Ready?
Yep. That's a good spray on that. I'm gonna check them all before I go and install them all. That way, if I crank it up and I got a miss,
we know which one.
I know it's a coil pack instead of an injector. This is preemptive troubleshooting, and I don't like to run them without some kind of fluid in them because I don't want to mess up the Teflon seats. Yeah, running an injector dry will screw it up.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
So I'm gonna pull this off. And this is not clean. Go ahead. Yep, beautiful. You only got to press it once. Otherwise, you're running it dry.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and clean the rest of these for sake of time. I'm trying to make my videos a little shorter, and I'll let you know what the outcome is. So we found 8 good ones, and they spray way the hell over there. So I know they're good. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little assembly goo. I use this stuff and everything, like Frank's Red Hot, you know, and pop them into the fuel logs. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and hose out the fuel logs with a little non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner, just to be sure all the sediment or that sediment issue that I know of. And then we can put the clips back on. All the clips are gonna go from the outside. And I'll grease them and you stick them. All right, we good?
Yep, looks like it.
All right. Pop them in the truck. Oh, clip. Clippy clip. We ain't rocket science.
No.
That's why I got your Legos when you were little.
Yeah, thanks.
Fuel rail. Second wheel. So just line up those larger holes on the intake.
I'm thinking my driver's side.
It is your
Perspective.
It's definitely a cool looking intake.
Yeah. It's taller.
It's not a sheet metal, you know, but
Yeah.
it's good.
No doubt.
Starting to look more like a truck. Yeah, as soon as it bottoms, you're done.
Yep. Yeah.
Fuel lines. They click on.
One goes where?
Top goes to the top, bottom goes to the bottom.
All right.
I have all the injectors and coils on both sides. Charcoal had to go to his mom's. And the rain has got me again. Whew. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. The engine's hooked up. The fuel injectors have been tested. Next, we're going to pull the spark plugs and spin the engine over, make sure we have oil pressure. And while we're doing that, fill the transmission up with fluid too to make sure that it's lubricated properly before we start this up. So I wish I could have got it started in this video, but we kind of run out of time. So appreciate y'all watching this week. We'll have more for next week. Catch y'all next time on Modified. Appreciate it, y'all. Later.